Get ready for sports news and entertainment. All right here, your 7 minutes with Simmons starts right now.
Oh, sweet deja vu. The Stanley Cup Final comes right back to the same two teams. How's everybody doing today? Friday, May 30th. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is episode number 8 of 7 Minutes with Simmons. Today we're going to talk Florida Panthers, Edmonton Oilers, and the deja vu that seems to be running back once again. Who knows? How many years are we going to do this? Edmonton and Florida. I mean, they're the two best teams in their respective conferences by a mile, in my opinion. And I think their journey to the Stanley Cup Finals shows that, both totally outclassing their opponents in the conference finals. I don't want to get into what happened to the Leafs in the quarterfinal. Like they had a very, very smooth ride to the Stanley Cup Finals. It makes me feel like we might be doing this same episode the same time next year. But another deja vu. My God, is my neck hurting today? Has anybody ever had a kink in their neck ever before? If you ever had one, like, you know exactly the pain I'm going through. I don't currently have a kink, but 10, 12 years ago, I had a terrible kink in my neck. And it was on a day where I was waking up to go to my favorite summer camp, hockey opportunity camp. And I get up, I step out of bed, right? Roll my head over off the pillow. And guess what? My chin is stuck to my left shoulder. I was walking around with my head and my eyesight totally fixed to my left shoulder for an entire day. I want to say maybe a day and a half. And since then, I've had the largest knot on the left side of my neck. And today, for whatever reason, my God, is this thing inflamed. It just doesn't want to stop hurting, and I can't focus. Anyway, we'll jump into the topic at hand today, the Stanley Cup Finals. What to expect from both clubs. Let's start with the Florida Panthers. They clinch their third consecutive appearance in the finals as they go dancing with Lord Stanley once again. And is anybody really surprised here? Like, who's surprised that the Panthers are back in the Stanley Cup Finals? I mean, you gotta love their message, everything that they're about, the kinds of characters they have in that room, the message of repetition builds championships. Like, yes, 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 ding, ding, ding. You love it. I love all of it. They never waver. These guys are like robots out there, like shift in, shift out, night in, night out, series in, series out. And I guess year in, year out. Who knows? We might be doing the same thing next year. And they're just such a consistently passionate and resilient group with a balanced locker room, always referring to that mindset of, hey, sometimes we're going to take a hit, but when they do, they fall in line and they fix their little shiny red uniform and they hit back hard. And we saw that after Game 4 in the conference finals. They come right back to seal it in Game 5. Totally unwavering, 100% trust in their game. And that's another thing that Paul Maurice and lots of teams that have played this Florida club have given them a whole lot of credit for, is they just keep coming. They keep coming back. They keep coming back. And they play the same way because of that extreme trust in their game plan. And, they come right back to seal that series in Game 5, dominating yet another series here in the playoffs. And they lay the groundwork for what could be yet another Stanley Cup victory, just 4 games away. But in their way, let's get to the other side of this. The Edmonton Oilers, led by NHL poster boy Connor McDavid. Can he finally get it done? And folks, as a Canadian individual, somebody who's grown up here, not seeing a single team from Canada hoist the Stanley Cup in my entire existence on this planet. I have not seen it since I started sucking air 22 years ago. That is the only thing that I want, is somebody remotely close to Toronto to win the goddamn Stanley Cup. And if it's going to be Connor McDavid, heaven forbid, I will live with it. All right? I will live with it. And you know that they're looking for that revenge. Every day for a year, these guys have gone to sleep dreaming of the day they get to rip that cup back from the Panthers and ride off into the sunset as champions, winning in the championship round. And the spotlight just doesn't seem to be too bright for them this time around. I mean, since game 2 of that conference finals, the Oilers have had their way, easily coasting back to the finals. And this time with that home ice advantage, and we're going to start to get into some of the analytical stuff here. In these playoffs, the Oilers are 6-3 on the road, 6-1 at home, almost unbeatable. Now, have they had to deal with a team like Florida? No, they have not had to deal with a team with that level of defensive capability, their offensive structure, their resilience, their skill. Totally different beast are the Florida Panthers. But I have to make it known that the Oilers have been almost unbeatable at home. So definitely a strong team either way, whether they're on the road or at home, and they've been posting shutouts in their barn, and elsewhere, getting great goaltending from Stuart Skinner. So there's a lot of things to be comfortable with here if you're the Edmonton Oilers. There's a lot of things that say maybe it's going to be different this time around. And it's a case of, again, the two best teams getting exactly where they deserve to be. And now it's going to be a knife fight in a prison yard. Who's got the sharper knife? And maybe even more so, who wants it more? And the resilient yet calm and defensively sound Panthers, or is it the high-flying, physical, and dangerous Edmonton Oilers? We will find out. A couple of things. Zach Hyman out for the Edmonton Oilers. That's a big loss, leading the NHL in hits in these playoffs. So they're losing some of that physical play, but they also get Matthias Ekholm back. So do those guys cancel each other out? Who knows? And another part of me feels like Florida is just the better team, out and out. They got more going for them, more skill. But the Oilers, with their heart and that shark mentality, tasting the blood from last year, can they get it done? I hope they can. That was episode number 8. Christian Simmons here, signing off. We'll see you next time. Peace.